Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. This is the girl Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition where we talk the thing. People, today is Wednesday, time and tide waits on no one by us. Wait on my peeps. Just now is Independence Day. We know what's going on with that scene, right? We are to talk about some unpatriotic people, but we'll deal with that. Let me start this right. So, share the live if you're on Facebook, like and share the live if you're on Bounce Up. Subscribe and you know what to do. Invite people to like the platform. So let me start this thing right. And the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
So people, let us start this thing right. It have plenty things to talk. And as I always say, there's always something to celebrate in the world. The Independence time, patriotism is the conversation. And I want to play this for you all. I saw this, I think the person who's speaking is Sonny Bling. He's an entertainer, and he would have made this video. Just watch it.
I really want the people to understand where I live in, you know, my community is easy, you know. I want to let them meet the Avengers. Look what's going on here. This is not a government program, you know. This is Mr. Trinidad and the, you know what? Let me come out and show you what's going on here. Just so they're coming out. Meet the Avengers, everybody. Meet the Avengers. Mr. Trinidad and the Avengers. Watch them here. They're getting ready for Independence Day. Prime Minister said no fireworks and no parade. You can't stop them though. You can't stop them, you know. Watch me. They take over the neighbor and them fence. They take over the neighbor and them fence here. Me, I'm sure if they ask anybody permission for that. And watch now, they're going all the way down the road. You think they're easy? Watch now, they paint everything. They paint the plants. You know what I'm telling you? They paint up all the bench. Watch me, they have a big light. Watch me now, boy. You making joke with Mr. Trinidad and the Avengers. Watch them. Watch them. 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning and you feel they easy. Watch the cooler. You feel these kicks? Watch the cooler. Mr. Trinidad and them don't play with national pride, boy. Them fellas are the cooler, they the tools, the trolley. Watch out the place looking nice now, boy. Cheese! But what's this machine here? Cheese! Come on. Come on.
You cannot stop the spirit of patriotism and the love for country that some citizens have in this country for Trinidad and Tobago. So cannot establish us and the UNC government to try to take away that from us. And I would have read a lot of literature that would have suggested that some of their behavior is not about loving this country, but all about, in my opinion, based on what I read, some of them of Indian descent, all about making this country link with Guyana and Suriname and make an Indian nation that is away from India, longing for the homeland. So it have no interest, but no red, black, and white flag, no watchwords, no pledge, no song, anthem, nothing. That is my opinion I'm given by some people of Indian descent in this country, because they have been taught that from since inception. There's a gentleman called F-E-H cosine. I'm going to read it today. Or they will hear how that thinking started, and I would have read from excerpt from Through the Maze of Color by Albert Gomes, when he would have described the behavior of some in our society in 1940s when India got their independence. They celebrated that right here in Trinidad and Tobago with pomp and ceremony. But today, 2025, the UNC-led government, which is largely a Hindu-based government, is saying, don't have no independence as if it's nothing. And then you have one of their own who I would believe is not saying what he is saying without the blessings of Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the Prime Minister of this country, and her cabal, my opinion I'm giving. But we'll come to that just now. So that's showing you can't stop that patriotism and love that we have for Trinidad and Tobago, right? Whether we are Indian, Chinese, Syrian, African, whoever we may be. Because we are, at the end of the day, we are a cosmopolitan country. Yeah? All right. So, you know, the games are going on now. I think it's the Pan-American Games, if I'm not mistaken, and our athletes are doing well. I want you all to watch a race by one Miss Bascom. And it was very exciting. I understand that she's training in Jamaica. That's the information I got. So I hope it is accurate. And when I see how she's looking, I say she probably could be in truth, you know. So I want you all to watch this. Let me get it. Oh, where this thing is going. You'll be seeing it, you know, and then just so you don't see nothing again. Where this thing going, right? Hey, all right, look.
Partido vaya la final de los 100 metros de atención por el carril central. República Dominicana, Jamaica. Atención, Trinidad y Tobago.
Never give up. No matter how hard it is, never give up. There's always a door that's open, and you'll see a way. Never give up.
Yeah, that's our girl there, Miss Bascom, young Miss Bascom, winning the 100-meter. Got in goal for Trinidad and Tobago. And if you see what she has around her, is the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. Any sport, anything they represent this country, and they have to stand on the podium or anything, is the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. They cricket, whatever, wherever they're out in America, anything happening, they have the red, black, and white. So, and it'll be just people of African descent. I'm also seeing at those games, we have to give congratulations. It goes out to the 11 to 12 boy. The 11 to 12-year-old boys team, Trinidad and Tobago, on capturing goal in the 200 medley relay at the Goodwill Swimming Championship 2025. The boys powered through to the race, smashing the previous meet record of 2.09.93. So we have our swim team there, the 11 to 12-year-old boys winning in the Goodwill game. So we're doing well. And then Kishon, a couple of days ago, Kishon Walcott, our first javelin champion. Nobody in the Caribbean ever took part in javelin, ever. That was something we see people from like Ireland and them European countries. And when he went and he won it first, it was like, what? And then after we got the guy from Grenada coming after, and he would have won a gold also. So Kishon would have won silver, the Diamond League, and he secured second place in the men's javelin at the Kamila Sokolemowska Memorial in Czarzow. You see the places, them was in Poland. On Saturday, and the Trinidad and Tobago thrower recorded a best distance of 82.54 meters at the Diamond League meet. So congratulations there. Doing well. And that would have come also due to dedication, love of country, funding, support of family, friends, staff, the whole staff, the coaches and everything, right? So all I want all to listen to this. We're going into something different here now. I heard it at a news release on, I think, I-95.5. And I say, Papa, you, hola bacana. So I want to listen to this.
Y la paz de Venezuela. Tres tareitas.
He emphasized the country will be defended on all sides.
Nuestros mares, nuestros cielos y nuestras tierras.
We defend our seas, our skies, and our land. We free them. We keep watch and patrol them. No empire is going to come and touch the sacred soil of Venezuela, nor should it touch the sacred soil of South America. Not one empire in the world, never again any empire with its insolent plan touching the sacred soil of Bolivar. What a shame to see American soldiers on Colombian soil. What a shame to the land to which Bolivar made all his sacrifice.
A la tierra que Bolívar dio todo su sacrificio.
Mr. Maduro made these statements during a televised meeting with the country's governors and mayors. Last week, the U.S. government confirmed to CNN that it had ordered naval movements in the region to contain the threat from drug trafficking groups. On Monday, Reuters reported 3 U.S. Navy destroyers and some 4,000 military personnel will arrive at the edge of Venezuela's territorial waters within the next 36 hours. Yesterday, however, U.S. Department of Defense officials said there were currently no U.S. ships in the area, nor have the ships received order to head there. And in an effort to crack down on drug cartels, a source briefed on the matter tells NBC News that 3 U.S. warships will be sent near Venezuela. A U.S. official says the ships will be used for intel gathering and surveillance from international waters. NBC News' Gabe Gutierrez reports.
Tonight, the Trump administration is cracking down on drug cartels at sea. A source briefed on the matter tells NBC News the U.S. is planning to deploy these 3 warships near Venezuela. President Trump focusing on drugs coming to the coasts after reducing illegal border crossings to record lows.
They continue to send drugs into our country, Venezuela. Yeah, they've been very nasty.
The Trump administration also recently doubling to $50 million its reward for the arrest of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, saying he violated U.S. drug laws. Meanwhile, in the fight against traffickers, the Coast Guard says it intercepted more than $138 million worth of drugs in the Caribbean this summer. Earlier this year, the president designated several cartels, as well as the notorious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, as foreign terrorist organizations. And despite pulling off a large-scale prisoner swap with Venezuela last month, President Trump has been increasingly at odds with Maduro.
He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel.
Now, the Venezuelan government has banned drone flights throughout the country amid what it considers a threat from the U.S. A U.S. official tells NBC News the warships will be used for intelligence gathering and surveillance in international waters. Still, Maduro just announced that he's mobilizing militia members across his country in response.
That is a report by Gabe Gutierrez of NBC News. And that's the news to 12 o'clock.
So people, serious times, serious things are happening. And when I heard that woman speaking, I said, but she sounds just like how Kamala Prasad's sister was describing President Maduro. I said, okay, like it's the same handbook. I don't know. We're not a part of all the bacchanal, I just reading the stories, bringing the news. But serious things are developing here, more warship coming down, so on. Remember, Venezuela is just 11 miles away from where, Papa? If them sneeze, we could catch cold, vice versa. Okay. And we have a government in place now who, based on their behavior, seem to have seem not to have a clue how to run this country, but we saw it in 2010 to 15. So again, that's the opinion I'm giving. So let me continue. So I'm going to Tobago now with this whole situation with the independence celebration that has been cancelled. And I think I saw Minister of Homeland and Minister of something else. Can't remember what he's of. That's Minister Saddam Hussein. They were speaking and saying that how I got it is like Tobago has the authority to have their own thing, something to that effect. So listen to them and listen to what Faith Israel, or whatever she name is, Brenner or whoever, would have said. She's the Secretary of Health or something in Tobago.
I know a lot of the Independence Day parade and these things, the focus is on Trinidad. What of Tobago?
Those matters with respect to Tobago, of course, those are within the control and the remit of the Chief Secretary, and you could probably direct your questions to Mr. Farley.
But as a government for Trinidad and Tobago,
yes.
Is it that this is for Trinidad and Tobago?
The government of Trinidad and Tobago has one independence parade, which is in the Savannah, and we are in fact making a decision on that particular parade.
Dr. Faith Brebner noted that the Tobago House of Assembly does not have jurisdiction over the 6 scheduled items.
National security is a 6th scheduled item. We kind of, as the release that came out of the Office of the Chief Sec said, we kind of just need to follow the guidelines as provided by the National Security Council.
The THA does not yet have the level of autonomy to bypass the government of Trinidad and Tobago on some issues. So even though Tobago is not currently facing a direct threat, the matter falls under national security and therefore remains outside of the Assembly's control.
At this point, we do not have that level of authority. We do not have that level of autonomy. And in some instances, it is wiser to listen to the advice of those who have all of the information.
So you see what I'm talking about? Just I want to say that the UNC don't seem to have a clue. I don't know. Because if the Minister of Homeland Security and the other minister there saying basically that, I'm paraphrasing, Tobago could have their own thing. The Secretary of Health from Tobago is saying that Tobago don't have that autonomy under the Act. So that is not something that I think Saddam Hussein is a lawyer. Does he not have all those? Look, let me continue, Papa. That is where some only vote for. So I'm seeing here in the news there 24 hours ago, Hilaire seeks 9.8 million over fine as central bank governor. So fired central bank governor Dr. Alvin Hilaire is expected to file a claim in the High Courts challenging his dismissal and seeking damages after failed attempts to reach an out-of-court settlement with the state. The former governor is seeking declaratory relief, reinstatement of his position, and damages totaling 9.8 million for loss of income, emotional distress, and breach of constitutional rights. His legal team, led by Stuart Young SC, attorney Imran Ali, and Anthony Bullock, has issued a pre-action protocol letter demanding urgent review of the cabinet's advice to President Christine Kangaloo, to revoke his appointment on June the 24th. According to the letter, Hilaire's removal was unlawful, alleging that the cabinet acted in bad faith for political purposes when it advised his termination under Section 12 of the Central Bank Act. That provision allows for dismissal only in cases of misconduct or failure to perform statutory duties. Hilaire, who was first appointed governor in December 2015 and reappointed twice, was due to serve until December 2026. The letter further alleged that Planning and Economic Affairs Minister Dr. Kennedy Sawat Singh met with Hilaire hours before his dismissal, urging him to resign and accept a government payout for the remainder of his term. When he declined because of the need for legal advice, he was later handed a revocation notice signed on the advice of cabinet. The correspondence set out details of the purported exchange between Sawat Singh and Hilaire. It claimed that the minister met with Hilaire around 11:30 a.m. on June the 24th at the latter's office and said the government wanted him to vacate the office of governor, offering that he would be paid in full for the remainder of his contract if he resigned immediately. Hilaire was reported in the letter to have questioned where such funds would come from, since the bank budget had no provision for it, and board approval would be required. The letter stated that Sawat Singh replied that the money would come from government finances and that he would sign off on the transaction as minister in the Ministry of Finance. It further alleged that the minister said Hilaire should produce his estimated earnings so that the Attorney General could issue a letter confirming the buyout. The document also claimed that the minister conveyed the Prime Minister's The document also claimed that the minister conveyed the Prime Minister considered Hilaire's refusal to involve the Auditor General in the central bank account as the last straw. It noted that the government had raised concerns over the handling of the bank's external auditing arrangements, particularly the decision to replace the Auditor General with a private firm, BDO. The letter maintained that the Auditor General had voluntarily ceased to serve as the bank's auditor in 2024, and that the bank had followed procurement rules in contracting BDO as a replacement. It stressed that BDO had no links to Angus Young, who left the firm in 2014, and that Finance Minister Ravindranath Thakur had been fully briefed. The letter further alleged that Sawat Singh told Hilaire that the new government wanted its own people in key positions, including the central bank. It also stated that when Hilaire requested legal advice, the minister warned that a decision was needed quickly since the new governor was to be appointed later that day, and that failure to resign would result in his removal. It was also alleged that later that afternoon, Sawat Singh returned with a letter signed by the Attorney General, which promised payments equivalent to Hilaire's remaining contract as soon as possible, though the amount was left blank. The letter said the minister again pressed for resignation, but Hilaire repeated his request for legal advice. Around 7 p.m., the minister reportedly returned and handed Hilaire a notice revoking his appointment as governor. The pre-action letter maintained that the central bank is a statutory corporation governed by its board of directors under Section 5 of the Central Bank Act and not by cabinet. It also noted that the act provides that a governor may only be removed for specific reasons set out in Section 12. The letter contended that Hilaire was the target of an orchestrated plot to oust him as the government so that the government could install its preferred candidate. It argued that the cabinet lacked legal authority to remove the governor outside the statutory grounds, and that the process breached constitutional rights to due process and protection of the law. Counsel have advised that the interaction between Minister Sawat Singh and Dr. Hilaire on June 24, 2025 was clearly unlawful. Furthermore, there was no legal basis for the advice that was given to Her Excellency the President that Dr. Hilaire's appointment be terminated on the basis that he was guilty of misconduct and or that he had failed to carry out any of the duties and functions conferred or imposed on him under the Central Bank Act. Instead, Dr. Hilaire's case is that he was the victim of a clearly orchestrated plot to illegally procure his resignation from the office of governor and failing that to illegally terminate his appointment as governor. In the premise, counsel have advised that the cabinet decision to advise the Excellency, the President, to terminate Dr. Hilaire's appointment was illegal, null, void, and of no effect. When contacted, Sawat Singh referred all questions on the allegation raised in the letter to the Attorney General. The Attorney General is the legal advisor to the cabinet and the government. So anything in the public space, we have to refer to the Attorney General. Attorney General John Jeremy SC also did not respond to questions or comments on the claim in the letter. All I could say is, Papa, as a Labour person reading all this, based on what I'm reading, them bongs their head. Minister Sawat Singh, with a name, it's sung based on what I read here, like he bongs his head. And like it's shaking. Papa, you may continue. I'm glad for them. So, Let me just read this here. I remember the whole incident with Paria. And you remember that Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, as Prime Minister, would have, I think, suggested that, listen, let's get an investigative team in there, excuse me, and see what the issue is and see how we could treat the matter and all that. They were adamant, the other side, that they wanted a commission of inquiry, which cost millions and millions of dollars. Coming out of that, all payments on hold, wherever. It now is an OSHA situation where OSHA is, I put it my way, as cited Paria and the company that hired these scuba divers who wasn't trained to do commercial diving job. And when they encountered the Delta P situation, because they weren't trained as commercial divers and they didn't have on the equipment that commercial divers has on, they ended up in that tragic situation we saw there. And coming out of that, a whole situation back and forth and back and forth. Prime Minister Stuart Young at the time earlier this year would have offered the family of the divers $1 million ex gratia payment. That was not admitting to any liability to anything. They could have continued to the matter in court with LMCS and Paria with regards to health and safety issues. They didn't take that neither. Now it is saying here, August the 19th, Daily Express, Paria's victim family still waiting for $1 million. And one of the wives on them, she on some board, right? They put she on some board or something. So I don't know, probably the others, they might put them on boards too, I don't know. So this is what it says here. 4 months and a general election have passed since a payment of $1 million in compensation was promised to the families of divers who lost their lives trapped inside a Paria fuel trading company pipeline on February the 25th, 2022. The promise was made by then Prime Minister and Minister of Energy Stuart Young days before the April 20th general elections that unseated him. To date, relatives and lone survivor Christopher Budram say the payment has yet to be materialized. Well, Christopher, I'm just saying, I really empathize with you all. Probably had you all gone in and signed it one, I don't know. I don't know, but there's a new government in place now who didn't promise all or anything. So I don't know. I'm just saying. That was just a gimmick and playing on our emotions and our feelings. It was a bad joke, Budram told the Express in an interview. Again, sir, I understand the challenges that you have, this horrific challenge that you have based on that trauma and all that. But to say it was a bad joke and it was a gimmick, you could have said that if the PNM government was still in office and after having promised to give you all $1 million, that they refused to give it. But if there's a new government in place, the PNM is now in opposition. The UNC never offered you all anything. So is the UNC you all need to have issues with? The PNM didn't give no gimmick. The PNM didn't know they were going to lose election. To say that they just do that for a gimmick. They didn't know they was going to lose the election. So it is kind of unfair, but again, people need to project so they take no responsibility for certain actions it takes. But let me continue. Absolutely nothing came of that. And we never held on to it in the first place. But in my opinion, it could have helped along the way, but nothing unfolded thus far, added a Fisher Henry, sister of deceased Yusuf Henry. Early in his short tenure as Prime Minister, Young had in April expressed a desire to have the matters involving compensating the families of Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Rishi Nagasar, Fazal Kurban, and survivor of the tragedy, Christopher Budram. All 5 men were stocked in a 36-inch pipeline from a hydrobaric chamber while working off Paria fuel point-of-care facility. Budram alone survived. Young had promised the payment to families, stating that he had grown frustrated and had asked for such a gesture to be made before entering the year 2025. Though he said that he was hopeful that the new United National Congress government will act in their favor, Buram said, 3 months since the election, there has been no news from relevant bodies or meetings called. We are hoping that they do something for us, but as far as we have heard, nothing about it yet. We are just hoping, Mrs. Prasadi says that, she did promise that if she won election, she would sort us out. So we're hoping she does that. So, Mr. Budram, with all due respect, so why you say that she and gimmicks and Mama Guy and all them things? Because she promised when she gets into office that she will sort all out. And if she sort all out yet, then it's gimmicks and games them playing. You can't blame the PNM for that. That's just my opinion. I hope that they deal with that or the new board that just been put in place. They have been quiet and we are hoping to hear something from them officially, he told the Express yesterday. Henry, however, added that he too remained hopeful that the government will eventually see the needs of affected families. I still have a bit of hope that the Honorable Prime Minister can still execute what she promised. They are recently elected in power. It may be premature to make such a big move, but we are still hopeful that she will do something better than the previous government. And she will not. Or they're not getting $1 million. And the previous government did offer you all $1 million. So they did better and they did good because they didn't have to. Because the case is not between the government and LMCS and Paria, between Paria and your employer, your former employer, Mr. Christopher Budram, LMCS, who hired you because I'm sure you're not a commercial diver. I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm just asking, I'm saying something. I'm sure that you're not a commercial diver. I'm certain you may be just a scuba diver. And I'm certain you're not trained as a commercial diver. I'm certain when you saw the pictures of you all that you all did not have a commercial diver's outfit. Those were scuba divers' outfit. But yet, you all never blame your employer. Not only that, where's the insurance that the employer is supposed to have on his employees, Andy? Because you all should have gotten something from that, from the Workers' Compensation Act and from the insurance. Why Ole doesn't be blaming LMCS? Because Ole in this high-risk job Ole doing, the employer is supposed to have you all insured. Where's the insurance? Where the money from the insurance? Where the insurance come kicking into that? So why Ole don't be blaming LMCS at all? There's only Paria with us here and the PNM government. So let's start being real now. Put blame where it's supposed to put. Don't just drop it on one side and then silent on the next side because the state didn't hire Ole. Paria didn't hire Ole. Paria hired LMCS and he bring you workers and Ole was working for LMCS, not Paria and not the state. So let me continue. We would like to get justice in the form of a prosecution. We want an update on the police investigation and what is going on with that. We haven't heard anything. After the election, everything went cold. We want them to admit that the previous government was responsible for the death of my friend. And again, it will not be the government because of health and safety issue and the government didn't hire all of Mr. Budram. I understand that you're hurting, but it has now become a health and safety issue. And the health and safety issue has to do with the employer. And employers, there's Paria, who would have hired the owner of LMCS, and LMCS who hired Ole to work with him. They're supposed to provide whatever protect, not the state. You wasn't working for the state, you wasn't a public officer, sir. So the state not responsible. You have to blame your employer and whatever blame to Paria. Why you all not seeing that? But there's a program with this PNM thing that you all just, and I'm speaking as a personal labor. The Health and Safety Act speak about your employer and your right to refuse work and what your employer is supposed to do to provide a safe and safe as possible working environment for you to work in against the state, because the state is not your employer. The state is public officers' employers, not private people. The company you work with is your employer. So look at LMCS and see what part LMCS played in the issue that you all had, sir. Come now, man. And then look at all your lawyer who advised all you, because he may have, in my opinion, advised you all badly. That's just me saying that. Let me just read out of respect. I'll read the whole of this thing. Right. Kenny, however, said that she too remained hopeful that the government will eventually see the needs of the affected family. I still have a bit of hope that Honorable Prime Minister can execute what she promised. Okay, I read all that already. So Budram told the Express that families were not only in search of financial compensation, but an admission of liability from the former administration and Paria. So it had to be from your boss and Paria, not the government. With a new board installed, he said he hoped that the company would issue a statement to address the tragedy in some way. He would like to also get justice in the form of right. So I read all that already. He going back again that he want the government to admit that they're responsible for the death of his friend. The Express reached out to Attorney Prakash Ramada, who represents some of the affected families, and had demanded prompt payment following Young's April announcement for any updates. No immediate response was received. The Express also contacted Minister of Energy Judal Munilal to ask if the government currently has an alternative plan of compensation for the family. Munilal indicated that he would reply at a later time. So you continue to sit there and in your interest to get answers and to get justice that you keep looking at the wrong people right through. So let me continue. So I am staying here. I want you all to listen to this. Listen to this. This is the person that was called Cutters because I had said there were some posts and I was responding to, and I said when I get there, when Stuart Richard Young SC beaten in the general election, I was talking about beaten politically in the general election. The Lexi go get a go call it Cutters. And he challenged me. I didn't save the post and all of me at time with that. And he was beaten soundly by over 4,000 something votes. So I was calling him Cutters. That was just me, I was saying that before the election, but he's a junior minister in the Ministry of Housing, I think it is. So listen to him. He's always going around operating as a shadow MP. I know it was a shadow minister, but shadow MP is a new thing to me. Not much people vote for him for the state of St. Anne's West. And you're going around posturing as the junior minister of housing. Oh God, you're really looking for relevance and you're looking to be accepted, bad boy. So listen to this. It wasn't done by me, but listen to this.
I don't know how anyone of intelligence could listen to Philip Alexander. This man is a chronic loser. Follow me here. You walked away from a political party because of those defamation lawsuits, and we'll get back to that. Only for us to wake up one morning to find out like a badge and they take back your party. When the UNC won the general election, they took forever to find a position for you. Hence, we end up with 3 ministers of housing. And then you decided to disband your party. But every general election you fought, you lost. You lost against Dr. Rowley. You lost against Colin Imbert. I mean, this man just can't stop losing. You lost against Stuart Young. Or you ain't fed up hearing loss yet? The man lost a defamation lawsuit against Colin Imbert. You lost another defamation lawsuit against Makeda Pandey. The man lost another defamation lawsuit against Andrew Gabriel. And on top of that, you come in to insult the people's intelligence by telling us that as a sitting junior minister, you are a shadow MP for a constituency that you lost. I have never heard in my lifetime a sitting minister acting as a shadow MP. And on top of that, he decided to call Keishan Haynes a half-pint house Negro. I mean, the insults and the foolishness can't stop. And when you think it couldn't get worse, Emancipation Day, my God. You will mix and mingle with the very race that you decided to insult. And my people don't have the dignity to stand up and say enough is enough with these people with the foolishness. But I guess our silence is their strength.
Yeah, so. And as I said, the guy could not say it better. So let me move on to this next one. I have my opinion on this individual, and I'm sure you all will have your own also. So listen to this.
Patriotism for them is a parade that they had for years, 10 years, which was in truth and fact a PNM rally for their base in Port of Spain. We're not interested.
So that is we're supposed to call it honorable Senator Naked. Imagine children watching him and how he does talk and behave and seeing that that is what we have in our Senate and as a government minister. So what standards are being set for children? How high are the bar, or how high is the bar being set for our children when you have people like that? So you're speaking about that the Independence Parade is a PNM one, right? During NAR times, they didn't have Independence Parade. During Kamla Prasad Bistas's reign in 2010, it didn't have Independence Parade. So it wasn't a PNM thing then for the people of Port of Spain. This is the capital of Trinidad and Tobago, Port of Spain. We expect them to have a parade, Independence Parade. We expect them to have it in Pinal or Cuba. It happens where it custom happening. It's not now it has been happening. And since we get our independence, we have been having Independence Parade. But not only that, this gentleman, wasn't he the captain of the Trinidad and Tobago football team? Haven't he put on and don a Trinidad and Tobago jersey and stood up to when the anthem of Trinidad and Tobago being played? While he have on the Trinidad and Tobago football jersey representing Trinidad and Tobago, he didn't have a problem with them thing, them time. Them thing wasn't PNM thing. Yeah? It is alleged that one of the reasons it is alleged that he was removed from the national team because when he was there, it is alleged, he was creating racial tension, pulling the players and them who like skin like he, one side, against the black players like Latapia and the rest of them. It is alleged. So if that allegation is true, he has a history of this division. Is it that the honorable senator is not comfortable in the skin that he's in, that he's not white enough to be around the white people, but not black enough to be around the black people? I just asking a question. What it is in Naked's life that have him so volatile and so venomous in his speaking? There has to be something going on with him, that ain't coming. That is a projection in my opinion, but not only that. I want to ask him, when he was in Lebanon, in the Lebanese jail, if it wasn't under PNM government and Mr. Manning, who would have used diplomatic channels to get him out of Lebanon when he went across there and behave in a particular way. Just asking a question. And is he the same person, asking, was coaching some team and claimed some racial thing and racial this and whatever, and he lost them matters and them? Why he probably in Trinidad now, scrunching around? I just asking a question. Because every time he talk, he sounds as if he have a hatred for himself. Not for we, but for himself. Because you have to be feeling some type of way about yourself, negatively about yourself, to always be talking and sounding like that. I'm going to ask that question again. You know he's black? I'm just asking a question. So he would have said that is a PNM thing. I want all to watch this.
A sea of red descended onto the Queen's Park Savannah on Friday morning to witness a yearly tradition, the Independence Day Parade. Persons of all ages and from many parts of the country surrounded the paved portion of the Savannah to see the National Security Forces in action. There were several additions to the event this year, which left the crowd very pleased.
It was fantastic. It was good. I am very, very proud of my country right now.
It was very exciting. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would have been. And the weather just complemented the occasion. It was great.
One of the guests of the government, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonzalez, was on hand and expressed congratulations on a job well done.
Impressive, absolutely impressive. I enjoyed it, and I'm happy to be here in Trinidad and Tobago. Happy birthday!
On his way out of the grandstand, Attorney General Anand Ramlogan gave his thoughts on the just concluding celebrations.
I thought it was particularly impressive to see TASA for the first time in our independence celebrations and as part of our military parade, and I think that signals that we have celebrated Trinidad and Tobago in all its glory.
And Opposition Leader Dr. Keith Rowley said the additions gave the parade a nice touch.
There were a lot of nice aspects to it. A couple of new initiatives. Nice, interesting.
After leaving the Savannah, the parade headed in a westerly direction, eventually ending at King George V Park in St. Clair. For CNC3, I am Chester Sambrano.
What it is you heard them say, Opposition Leader Dr. Rowley. So it means that it wasn't PNM in office, but they had a big independence celebration. And who we saw? Attorney General Anand Ramlogan. You hear the words he said? He was happy to see the TASA because it finally mean, a paraphrasing, finally mean, they included. The TASA is there now, so everything good. So when this one who seemed to have a hatred for himself, talking his shit, they are saying they were talking his shit, and I put a bull in front of it. But the Independence Parade is a PNM thing. So what it was when the Attorney General at the time, Anand Ramlogan, and all of them was down in the Savannah for the Independence Parade. It was a UNCPT thing then. Give me a break. But I heard something, and I don't know if it's, I just asking. I understand it is alleged that David Naked is on the board or something so at Despa's fan side. I will show you all why. It gives me a moment to say, we'll get to that. So let me move on from there. So this is taken from Michael Edmond Dihani. I like reading his post. It says, Kamala Monkey Pants. Kamala Prasad sister bounced back into office like she was the savior of the poor man, promising cheaper bills, no property tax, the safety in the streets, sweet talk. But within 100 days, the facade peeling like old paint. She boasted about cutting waste, but she could turn around and stitch together the biggest cabinet in our history, housing almost 3 ministers. Housing alone have 3 ministers, like it's a double stall with extra pepper and china. Every padded ministry is just another mouth to feed, another salary to keep the cabal quiet. And while the cabinet's swelling, 30,000 workers don't get fired. Unions still waiting for the promised 10% rise. And the treasury humming empty, empty, empty. Wayne Surge, the so-called hard man, now looking like a fellow who thief dog chow from the kennel. Reports say financiers with gang ties put 20 million into Kamala's campaign, expecting European CPEC contracts in return. And now, because Surge plain principle refusing to hand over board seats and plum jobs, he walking around with security title and a maxi on a rainy Friday. This ain't about brave reform. It is about a debt that comes due. And then Independence Day, the one day we're supposed to stand tall as a nation instead of a parade. Kamala give we a day of prayer and reflection. Mousy, please. Call it what it is. Fear of assassination in broad daylight. It is not about patriotism, not about unity. It is about ministers so shaky that they can't risk standing up in public without wondering if a rifle scope on them. Trinis not dotish. We remember 2010 to 15, the same UNC that gave us life sports scandal, Dana Sitahal murder, missing rocket launchers, deep state bacchanal. Now it's deja vu, this time wrapped in SOE camouflage. News source call it right. The SOE was supposed to fight gangs, but what we are seeing is a quarrel between gangster and the politician they bankroll. Partners turn enemies and the population paying the price. So Kamala, you promise reform, but your cabinet is a big fat checkbook. You promise safety, but your ministers ducking bullets. You promise relief, but 30,000 people sent home. And you promise wages, but unions holding IOUs. Tell me straight now, you're fighting crime or just fighting off your own predators? Because from where we standing, the UNC not cleaning the country. They're just dirtying up independence all over again. That is the monkey pants Kamala and her crew wears. Again, this is from Michael Edmond Dehano. I like his writing, it's very colorful, how he writes. So you all remember this individual. Give me a minute. You all remember one by the name, this was in The Guardian. First TNT first transgender defense, senators defense Kamala. Remember when the UNC made history by swearing in, having the president swear in the first transgender as a senator in our parliament, in our Senate. And that person, so this article was that TNT first transgender Senator Joel De Souza has defended opposition leader Kamala Persaud-Bissessa's condemnation of former United States President Joe Biden, especially regarding his policy on gender reassignment surgeries for children. So Ms. Joel De Souza was defending Kamala Persaud-Bissessa because you know what? She made her make history in this country, first transgender. Well, I'm going to play a little piece of Miss Miss De Souza. This is she today. I ain't playing the whole thing, people. It may have some explicit. It may have a little obscene, not too hardcore, but some obscene. Listen, like is everybody telling?
So I'm back again. For some of you lighting up my phone and lighting up my message inbox about the government of Trinidad and Tobago, you should be calling the government of Trinidad and Tobago to light them up. I'm sure you all have all of their numbers. Don't be lighting my phone up. Don't be lighting my messages, my inbox up. Don't light me up. Light the fucking government up. Because they are the ones that you voted for. They are the ones that said they're so clear, they're so clean, they're so perfect. Light them up. Don't be lighting me up. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is the United National Congress. They should have considered, before they throw out the whole pack of people out of Trinidad and out of the United National Congress, and they were so happy to be saying that they're throwing them out and going all blessing. It's them you should be lighting up. You shouldn't be lighting up myself and other people who want Trinidad and Tobago. That these people wanted the job, but they had no idea how to govern this country. Now you come up with a sort of fucking fake thing. This government always have a ghost somewhere. In 2010, Clico had ghosts. Now in 2025, all you find more ghosts again. So the government is a Ghostbusters government? Huh? This is Ghostbusters? Let me tell you something. Don't light up my message. Don't send me no message about Trinidad and Tobago government. Call Kamala Persaud-Bissessa. Her number everywhere. Call the next Prime Minister Paria and call the Deputy fucking Prime Minister Saddam Hussein and the rest of them and call them and ask them what was their real plan for Trinidad and Tobago, because clearly them didn't have a fucking plan for Trinidad and Tobago, except that we have a continuation of sufferation by this government and the last one. So if you're looking to blame anybody, who you all should be blaming is to flush the two set of them down the same toilet. Okay? So anybody think about calling up my phone to give me complaint, I don't want to hear that. I want to see governance by a prime minister that is voted for. I don't want to see no other people come to tell anybody anything here. They're civil servants as far as I am concerned, elected servants or whatever they are. What I'm telling you, we are their bosses. So don't come to ask me to go to ask them the situation. The situation is that we gave them a mandate and they're nowhere around. The Prime Minister is MIA. If anybody wanted to say anything, it's to say the Prime Minister is MIA. At the most crucial time of Trinidad and Tobago, dark, dismal, frustrated, and the Prime Minister, you can't hear nothing from the Prime Minister. She could never come out and tell people what's really going on. But I want to light up my phone. Let me tell you something, Sometimes we look for what we really get, We really as a nation, we let them in, we let the set out a horrible.
Right, so that is one of Kamala Prasad-Tesla's supporter. You hear they talking now? They go come out, more will start to come out because truth is the truth and the truth is a group. And while people like Shim, people like Ms. D'Souza, speaking out, we have someone look like we, who calling themselves prophet the sun, who all of a sudden they're talking from a higher place and all that. I don't like them as empty vessels where evil dwell in them and evil does speak through them. Listen to them, God, you will know them, If you have ears to hear, you go hear them, And when you hear them, you go know who is truth, And when you see them, you go see the evil, you go see the aura, the evil, You go see it, You go see it. So let me continue, Papa, So this, I see somebody posted this, and I'm going to say allegedly it is from, I'm seeing here Curry Marcel, attorney at law. So I'm saying allegedly, It said, good afternoon, contractors. We have filed a Freedom of Information Act request today. Please see here under. I guess this may have been a couple of weeks or something ago, right? We are in the process of settling, filing, and serving other legal documents to the relevant authorities on your behalf. We expect to be in court very soon. We are also sending a generic termination letter for contractors to use/issue to their employees as requested by some contractors. On another note, please know that you have a team of attorneys, including 3 of well-deserving and eminent silk senior counsels, along with dedicated instructing attorneys at law, working night and day to fight for and on behalf of you and all CPAP workers. This is the only legal team sanctioned by our political leader in this fight. I ask that you stand with your team. It says yours sincerely, Curry Marcel, attorney at law. And when he said this is the only legal team sanctioned by our political leader, he means Penelope Beckers Robinson. I was like, well, okay. I am seeing this here. I'm waiting for this thing to open. This is, when is this? This here has CPAP stationery thing on it, logo thing on it. They have the address, phone numbers, and it said media release. CPAP contractor loses again. August the 20th, 2025. CPAP contractor Eastman Enterprise suffered yet another blow today when Court of Appeal Judge Justice Nolan Beirut dismissed an application for an urgent hearing of his appeal, saying the case did not have sufficient oomph. This appeal has been championed by the opposition PNM after the High Court referred the matter to the DPP to consider a criminal investigation. Eastman Enterprises Limited appealed the judgment of Justice Margaret Mohammed, who referred the matter to the DPP when dismissing an application for an injunction to force CPEP to rehire CPEP contractors after they were terminated. Eastman is seeking to overturn the order referring the case to the DPP for a criminal investigation. Eastman filed an application for his appeal to be heard on an urgent and expedited basis, citing hardship on the part of the dismissed workers. Larry Lala SC told the court that CPEP workers came from the lower level of the socioeconomic ladder and read from the affidavit of Cindy Ann Purcell from Beetham Gardens, Lavent Hill, who stated that she had separated from the children's father. She indicated that she had 4 children and lived in a 2-bedroom home with an outside bathroom. Purcell indicated that she had 3 children. Her first son, aged 25, suffers from ADHD and was nursing a broken foot. Her second adult son, Marcus, was on a full track and field scholarship at Emmanuel University, Georgia, USA. Her third son, aged 19, was working towards a scholarship with Memphis Pioneers Athletic Club together with her minor daughter, aged 10. Mr. Lala SC indicated that the hardship on the part of the worker made the matter urgent. On behalf of the workers, made the matter urgent. Anna Ramlogan SC, however, countered that Eastman had been paid over TT 9 million by CPEP, and Eastman had previously earned from other companies like EFCL. He queried why the contractor was solely reliant on CPEP and was not seeking to assist its workers by obtaining work from other companies. Ramlogan SC also highlighted the fact that over 7,000 workers would have lost jobs in 2017 after contracts were terminated under the then People's National Movement, and stated that they too would have suffered hardship. Ramlogan SC told the courts that every CPEP worker who had a job for the past 10 years, there were thousands of other workers who came from the same lower strata of society that were unemployed and had to find ways to survive. CPEP was based on a business incubator model, and contractors were not entitled to take advantage by converting that into a form of permanent employment that could deprive other persons of the opportunity to work on the CPEP program he submitted. He said that while CPEP was sympathetic, he queried why the father, who was not paying any maintenance or giving support for the care of his 4 children, to assist Purcell. He indicated that even persons who were employed were suffering hardship, highlighting the working class poor, who lived paycheck to paycheck, and stated that their plight was no different. In delivering his ruling, Justice Bureau was critical of the affidavit evidence of attorney Kareem Marcel, stating that there was nothing in Mr. Marcel's affidavit which demonstrated any cogency or urgency of circumstances which justify that the matter be deemed fit for urgent hearing. The court said even if it did take plight of the workers into account, there were no congent circumstances that would have allowed the appeal to be heard over, above and in priority to other matters before the court, in which other persons have been patiently waiting in the queue. He stated that very cogent facts and circumstances were needed, and there was no proper basis in Eastman's evidence to hear the matter urgently. According to him, the evidence lacked the necessary oomph to satisfy the legal requirements. He therefore dismissed the application and ordered Eastman to pay CPEP illegal costs, certified fit for senior and junior counsels in the cause. Larry Lala SC paired with Curry Master as Sinclair O'Neill for Eastman Enterprises Limited. Anna Ramlogan SC paired with Kent Samlal, Jared Jagru, and Asha Ramlal for the CPEP Company Limited. The substantive appeal will come up for hearing at the end of the usual in the usual manner. From the Office of the Chief Personal Officer, I think that's CPEP. So listen to David Naked. Listen to David Naked.
Because as I said before in previous videos, when the PNM not in power, you all are rabid dogs. Emphasis on the dogs. Anybody in the UNC who is coward not to let go of PNM employees, I say fire burn all too.
Let me play it again.
Because as I said before in previous videos, when the PNM not in power, you all are rabid dogs. Emphasis on the dogs. Anybody in the UNC who is coward not to let go of PNM employees, I say fire burn all too.
That is Senator David Naked, Minister in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs. Same PNM people as dogs. Rabid dogs, but the emphasis is on dogs. It is alleged that that gentleman who just called PNM people dogs has been elected on the board of Desperado Steel Pan Orchestra. I don't know how true it is. I'm going to say alleged. But I just want to ask if it is true. The board of Despas or the management of Despas, if they heard what this senator, minister in fact, said about PNM people being dogs. Because if I'm not mistaken, Despas come from in the bowels of the hills of Lavantil. That is mainly people of African descent and Rudolph Charles of African descent, and the People's National Movement under Dr. Eric Eustace Williams would have elevated the steel pan from the clashes they were having by making sure that the transnational companies in this country sponsor these bands. There were programs for the pan players down at Shagaramas where they could have done business and stuff to bring themselves up to a level. I would have played what Dr. Eric Williams said about the pan men to bring them to that level. I'll play it for you just now. And that building of that pan theater there, because when they came off the hill of Lavantil, because they were getting problems for players to come up there because of crime situation, and they moved from up on the hill there in Lavantil, the People's National Movement would have given them the area there on Tragreet and I think Victoria Street corner there where the Printry used to be, because the Printry break down that whole area and the Printry now don't show go Caroni side there. Despas would have been there as the pan side while things were put in place. And when the pan theater was finished built, down in Port of Spain, they have a pan theater and they have this and that. It wasn't built by the UNC government, who had money between 2010 and 15 oil prices, the highest ever. It was built by the PNM government. And people would say a lot of people in Despas may also be PNM people, because you know they say all black people is PNM people, which is not true, but you understand the gist I'm making. So he calling PNM people dogs, dogs, and that UNC should fire any PNM people. And if they don't fire them, burn them for doing that. And we just had 10,500 CPEP workers, where you could say a lot of them may be PNM people and contractors, taking out the economic system just like that. Today they have no money. They are subject to beg, and everybody's saying no. Well, it's not them alone that lost work. It are other people unemployed too, and does make it work. That is not the 10,500 people who work in business. Them was working. You can't take where they work and they're complaining now and tell them, look at that other people unemployed. That is unfair. Because no matter how much people working, it will always have some still unemployed. But you can't say as a rationale because it have people unemployed and they're making it work. So what happens now if all they lost all their work? And talking about child father pay maintenance, that is not the issue. But you know why we just have to take some of them to, because some of we does lick LBAs. I said that LBAs some of we. You see them now talking in defense of the UNC, and but when you know they now come in and we want them to listen and so David Naked could turn around and say PNM people is dogs, and he's on the board of desperados. A ban. When you look at it, have a deep history. Where a lot of his players may be PNM coming from the Laventille area. But it's the right also not to be PNM members. Anybody could support any party. That is a democratic right, whether it's UNC, NTA, PDP, wherever it is. It's your democratic right. But you don't hear nobody. You never hear a PNM senator who never went up for election and then win the seat, never fight the election, call no UNC people dogs. The one time Mr. Stanley from Tobago made some comment about Calcutta ship, the whole Hindu community went up here was to apologize. But this man who represented our country at a national level, wearing the national jersey and standing at attention for the anthem, with the flag flying high, representing the country all over the world, calling PNM people dogs. The anthem was commissioned by a PNM government or something called like Chan or something, so from Guyana, who write the anthem. The flag was designed by the PNM, the anthem, the watchwords, the quote of the pledge, everything. But he was very happy when he represented Trinidad and Tobago to stand in New Jersey. But today, as a senator in the UNC, you're calling PNM people dogs. And a steel band with a history like Desper's, how you on the board? Something wrong, man. Something wrong. So let me continue. Something wrong. Something. So the new conversation is them 10,000 people, whoever, let them look for something else because of other people. How unfair is that? They never did anything wrong to lose their job. There was no grievance procedure to say, well, hey, we have a problem at all, wherever it is. They were just taken away from them. So now, to be telling them, well, other people in hard work, or they could find some way to survive, and oh, why did you and father in mind the children and all that? That is totally uncalled for. But then again, that's how you'll talk to dogs, isn't it? Let me read this for you. Old people are saying, the dogs they want to call we, PNM people. Like them lie down with some dogs and get up with fleas. And it ain't look like it's PNM people dogs. Like it's a different kind of dogs. I don't know how to ask him. So this was in the Guardian yesterday. It says, hungry gangs. PNM links allege that threats against Defense Minister of CPEP. Let me read that again. PNM links allege that threats against Defense Minister to CPEP Europe clamped down, saying gangs now starve for public funds. I'm just reading a report. It was done by Keishan Haynes and Anna Lisa Paul. Prime Minister Kamala Persad says threats against Defense Minister Wayne Sturge were expected due to much needed aggression policing action to root out gang activity over the past month. In a WhatsApp message to Guardian Media yesterday, she added, the gangs are being starved of funds due to the clampdown on the European CPEP, as well as actions taken by the police to dismantle the operations. They are attempting to retaliate and create disorder, but the protective services will respond swiftly and mercilessly. However, the Prime Minister declined to respond to questions asking if she herself was taking any extra precaution, especially as she has to be in close proximity to Sturge. Cabinet ministers have also expressed concerns over the reported assassination plot. Following a tour of the Beswan Street police station yesterday, Justice Minister Devnesh Maharaj said, we are very concerned. This is our colleague and a minister, but there's also so much we can say at this point in time. Pressed by reporters as to what fears Sturge colleagues had expressed, Maharaj said, we are due to meet on it, but yes, they are very grave concern. He added, it seems that the intelligence report from what we read in the papers show that it's a very real threat. He assured the authorities were taking it seriously. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander, who also toured the station alongside Maharaj, confirmed Sturge consulted security agency and briefed his family. Asked directly if any reports had been made to the TNT Police Service, Alexander said, Minister Sturge would have consulted with the relevant agencies, and once a threat comes forward or information about a threat comes forward, what normally happens is that you will also brief your family, so I know that was done. The security arrangement, I wouldn't want to discuss that too much. However, we are doing everything that we can do to ensure the safety of Mr. Sturge and his family. The threat has been linked to Sturge's refusal to install handpicked personnel in state and constituency positions. Alleged conspirators, including a lawyer with ties to the ruling United National Congress administration, two illegal operators, and a senior military official. Guardian Media was told that the attorneys was reportedly demanding the ability to select staff in Sturge Ministry, the Toko Sandy Grande constituency office, where Sturge is MP, the military, and the Unemployment Relief Program ERP. Party sources also claim that pressure was being mounted on Sturge regarding employment, and there were plans by some individuals to stage a protest outside his constituency office. His security was tightened. Persad yesterday reiterated that a government suspension of the community-based environmental protection and enhancement program and review of the unemployment relief program had triggered pushback from what she described as the deep-seated underbelly of the underworld, affecting Minister Barry Padarat, Khadija Amin, and URP Program Manager Feroz Khan. On August 11, Persad had said the lives of Padarat, Amin, and Khan were threatened in connection with CPAP and the URP. The development followed the cancellation of this year's Independence Day parade and security concerns during the state of emergency. Requests for comments from Minister Sturge and Police Commissioner Lister Guevara were not answered yesterday. So let's listen to this, because this thing to me getting more and more confusing.
The threats issued against government ministers Khadija Amin, Barry Padarath and Sage are real and credible. Over the weekend, a newspaper article confirmed that a particular report had been compiled about threats made against Minister Wayne Sturge and why he was possibly being targeted. Today, intelligence and underworld sources confirmed to TV6 News that a $700,000 bounty had been placed on each minister's head, as well as the same figure for URP program manager Feroz Khan. These threats were not recent but date back to May, just after the UNC came into power after winning the 2025 general elections in April. Sturge later declaring that the URP and CPAP programs would be suspended pending review and reform. Sources told TV6 News that a contractor who had ties to the resistance gang, with one of his relatives fronting as a head of the Toco Sangre Grande area for the gang, alongside a man wanted for a 2024 murder, now hiding out in Colombia, was said to be the main players behind the plot. Sources told TV6 News that both the contractor from the Toco Sangre Grande area, alongside another Santa Cruz contractor who worked as his business partner involved in illegal quarrying, and this man based in Colombia had been promised certain contracts after the election. The contractors had allegedly pumped $20 million into the election campaign of the UNC, and in exchange, they were expected to be requited with contracts in URP and CPEP. Since intelligence reports were compiled on the alleged threats, sources in the underworld confirmed that a Jamaican hitman was recently brought into the country to assist the other hitmen with the targeted ministers. This morning, Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander, while speaking on TV6's Morning Edition, alluded to the threats.
This decision was not made in a vacuum, and it didn't take all of 4 or 5 seconds. The Honorable Prime Minister, after continuous deliberation for a long time, it's almost like giving a verdict in a matter in the High Court. You see, Mr. Hopkinson? Yes. But taking into consideration the safety and security of our citizens, we as a government had a decision to make. Now, persons behaving like this is the last time or there will be no more Independence Day parade, that is not the case.
Meanwhile, PNM Chairman Marvin Gonzalez had asked the Defense Minister Wayne Sturge to come clean on the threat and said any threat on the life of a public official must be taken seriously. Mark Besant, TV6 News.
Alright, so I read the report, I played the video so people say it's not me who say, and look at this too. I saw this somewhere on Facebook, I posted, I don't know. So listen to this. This is what I say this thing. I don't know. PM, this was in The Guardian 18 hours ago. PM, security fears won't hold UNC meetings. Prime Minister Kamala Persad says public events hosted by the United National Congress, including the Monday night report, will not be stopped despite alleged death threats to some cabinet ministers. But the Prime Minister admitted that minor security adjustments have been made on a temporary basis to protect some of the ministers. Earlier this month during a UNC meeting, the Prime Minister claimed death threats that have been made against the lives of Minister of Public Utilities Barry Paradat and Minister of Rural Development and Local Government Khadija Amin in connection with the government reform of the Community-Based Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program, CPEP, and Unemployment Relief Program. Last weekend, claims emerged of threats against the life of Defense Minister Wayne Sturge over his reported refusal to appoint handpicked individuals to state and constituency positions, with a lawyer linked to the UNC also implicated. Asked if the party would consider suspending its public meetings, such as its Monday night report, and stand your ground consultation in light of these alleged threats, the Prime Minister in a WhatsApp message said, at this time, there are no restrictions on movement or public gathering. I also don't anticipate any restrictions in the future. I take the advice of the minister responsible for the protective services in this matter. Prasad Sessa said some security adjustments have been made, but not to the personal security detail. Not myself, just a few temporary arrangements are in place for a couple of cabinet ministers, she said. Meanwhile, UNC Deputy Political Leader Julian John said the party is in frequent discussions with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service on whether its public event should continue in light of the threats and the ongoing state of emergency. However, John declared that the UNC will not be intimidated or silenced. We are in ongoing contact with the TTPS and the national security officials, and we will continue to take their guidance on the security of our public events, including the Monday night report. The safety of our people is paramount. She added, we will take every precaution necessary to protect the general public and our members, and we will advise the country on any adjustment to upcoming events. John said the UNC was taking the alleged threat against her colleagues very seriously, adding that they remain deeply concerned of the safety of government ministers, their supporters, and the wider public. However, the UNC deputy leader said that they will also not cower to the criminals. We will not allow criminal elements to dictate the democracy life in this country, she wrote. John posted that for the past 10 years, the population had endured murder, mayhem, extortion, corruption, and underdevelopment. That is what we are fighting to change, and nothing will deter us from that mission, she added. John said the UNC will continue to stand strong, speak out, and take the fight to those who have held back our nation for far too long. On Monday, opposition MP Col Emmett accused the UNC government of hypocrisy, pointing out that while it cancelled Independence Day parade over security concern, it continued to host public party events. As an ordinary citizen, I just want to ask, because it's confusing as hell, so somebody could probably tell me, when this thing started, or they said it was some threat emanating from the prisons, and then we heard that that threat was eliminated, persons were moved to down Tetra and down there, and they said that was eliminated. That is why they call it SOE. So they said they eliminated it, but then they went to Parliament, for extension. And then after we hearing that threats were made to ministers' lives, so this SOE is still there, and they canceled the independence celebration because of that threat. No problem with me, if that's what they say. Them know better than me, the agencies who think, and nobody's life should be, living under that kind of thing. So I agree with that. But then if you're saying that you stop the independence parade because of those threats, and all the ministers will be in one place, where it will have thousands of national security people, you have the Coast Guard, military, prison, police, fire, this one, that one, all of them have guns. Everybody have a gun, marching around. Most secure place will be on that day. You don't really have no crime in town, Independence Day. Everywhere you look is a soldier, a police, somebody. But all they ain't keeping the independence celebration because of that. But all they will keep Monday night forum, where all the UNC ministers does be, where it must have about 100 security people or something. And probably just me. Probably just me. But anything to keep our members of parliament safe, all our members of parliament, I am for that. And I hope that this thing is resolved quickly. But I confuse. And then when you hear what Naked say, because Naked didn't say, this is my opinion, just like Vanilla Allen Toppin, who went in the parliament and lied and said those things she said about Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. She had the blessings of the Prime Minister at the time, Colonel Prasad Sessa, and them. So what Naked is saying, I believe in the same vein, he has the blessing of Colonel Prasad Sessa. So is it that they consider us dogs? That is one. So you could fire dogs, you could treat dogs so you want, and two, that the independence is a PNM thing. So we are on a PNM thing. So we have no independence, and it had nothing really to do with what they say it had to do with. I'm just asking a question. Let me continue, Papa. Hey, when I tell you, when I so I saw this written by Mr. Freddie Ferreira, 17th of August 2025. It was in the news day, I think, Express, it says. At the UNC's Monday night report on August 11th, our Prime Minister reported on her government's performance over the first 100 days and went into what can only be described as an attack with full force. No one was spared. The president, the banking and financial sector, the 1%, whoever they may be, the opposition, the unproductive workers, gang leaders, the uneducated, the unambitious grass cutters, and finally the representatives of her government, who she accused publicly, without calling names, of enjoying the good life, socializing and fraternizing with questionable business tycoons and enemies of the party, and she promised to bust their head. It was the most aggressive political speech I've ever heard. Her presentation was a combination of valuable information and her government thinking and policy. Our reinvented Prime Minister made no secret of her still questionable performance during the period 2010 to 15. She made it absolutely clear that there will be no repetition of such mistakes and warned her ministers of the serious consequences to any one of them engaging in questionable activities. She pulled no punches, causing some of them, I'm sure, some level of discomfort. She accused them of enjoying the good life at the most prestigious entertainment venues. She left no doubt in anyone's mind that she knew what she was talking about and about whom she was talking, sending ripples to those who knew about whom she was talking. The new moral compass identified and pronounced by our reinvented Prime Minister is a welcome signal long overdue. She once again proclaimed to the party faithfuls and by extension, the national community, when the UNC wins, everybody wins. Nobody will ever love you as I love you. Is this a reincarnation of our own Mother Teresa? Moving the moral compass from zero to hero? I merely wish to respectfully remind the Prime Minister of the following. 1, she is not a Prime Minister of the country. I say no more on this. 2, we are still free, whatever our political loyalties, inclusive of members of her government, to socialize and fraternize with people of our choice at places of our choice. This is what makes us unique and Trinis to the bone. 3, her public utterances, like her predecessors, must be characterized with modernization and appropriate language. 4, remember, it is better to be loved and respected than to be feared. 5, she has the mandate to change our entrenched lack of accountability, the now corrupted moral compass that she attacked with full force, both at the political, public service, and private sector levels. However, our Prime Minister must lead by example in terms of a government election and selection of citizens to lead us at the highest and most respectable levels, both at our institutions and public enterprises. Citizens who are not only qualified, but whose character and credibility are unquestionable. Citizens who our young people can admire and emulate. This should be the hallmark of a new moral compass. So far, this has not been done. Many of our government appointments still leave us with more questions than answers. Finally, she now has the mandate to bring those guilty of misconduct to the long-awaited casualty list. Freddie Ferreira. And I too would like to say, when you see the people that are put on boards, this sanctimonious way that our Prime Minister is speaking, it don't connect, it don't gel. They don't gel at all. When you read out some of the names, it's family, friends, and wife and child on boards. So we'll see how that goes. You all ever heard about the parable of Jotham? Or who Jotham is? So I would have seen this. Somebody sent it to me and I listened to it. It was Father, oh Lord, let me see if I could get Father name here. I'll give all the Father name because I thoroughly enjoyed his conversation. Father, it's Father Blessed Ambang Njum. Yeah, that's his name. So he had what you call it, a type of service or Catholic meditation today, Wednesday the 20th. And spoke about Jotham's parable. So I listened to him and I said, let me go and look and see what this is about. So the parable of Jotham found in Judges 9:7-21 uses trees as metaphors to critique the Israelites' decision to make Abimelech their king, or Leach their king. The parable highlights the dangers of choosing a self-serving and unworthy leader over those who serve faithfully. And it warns against seeking power for your own sake and emphasizes the importance of humility and true leadership. So, who was Jotham, right? So Jotham was the youngest son of Gideon, who was a judge of Israel. Jotham's brother Abimelech tried to seize power by killing all of his brothers. Jotham escaped and was the sole survivor. Jotham pronounced judgment on Abimelech and the Shishamites by telling a parable of the trees while standing on Mount Gerizim. In fear of his life, Jotham fled to Beer, and Jotham disappeared from the Bible, and no more is recorded of him. But the judgment he placed on Abimelech and the Shishamites was fulfilled 3 years later. And this is what he would have said. So, the parable describes trees seeking a king. The olive tree, the fig tree, and the vine trees, all productive and beneficial, declined the offer, recognizing that kingship would require them to give up their fruitful service. The bramble, a thorny and worthless shrub, readily accept the kingship. This represents Abimelech, who was ambitious and sought power through violence and deceit. The bramble's response included a threat. If the trees don't trust him, he will devour them with fire. This mirrors Abimelech's tyrannical nature and the destructive consequences of his reign. Jotham, the only surviving son of Gideon, who had previously refused kingship, uses the parable to warn the Shishamites of the folly of their choice. He predicts that their decision would elevate Abimelech would lead to destruction. The parable is prophetic as Abimelech's reign was indeed marked by violence and ultimately ended in his death and the destruction of Shechem. The parable teaches that true leadership is not about self-aggrandizement, but about service and bearing fruit. It also cautions against choosing leaders based on ambition and power rather than on character and integrity. The parable serves as a reminder that even seemingly insignificant choices regarding leadership can have far-reaching and potentially devastating consequences. Yeah? Jotham's message was that choosing, again, I'm reading some on it, Abimelech, a man of violence and self-interest, was a foolish and dangerous decision. The bramble, which he would have likened to his brother Abimelech, was willing to rule and will bring destruction. While willing to rule, he will bring destruction rather than benefits. And the parable also contained a prophecy stating that if the Shechemites had acted in good faith, they would have rejoiced in Abimelech. However, because they had chosen him through violence and self-interest, destruction would follow. Right? And if you want, you could take it and put it towards what we have in law. So, they wanted a king, I put this my way. They wanted a king, they asked, the olive tree was serving its purpose, giving fruit, giving oil, all that. Decided I'm not taking the office because if I take that office, I wouldn't be able to do the good works I'm doing now. Ask divine said the same thing. I have my work to do. Ask the fig tree, same thing. But the bramble, who was incompetent, who didn't have the experience, didn't have the ability, but had ambition, but no, can't do the work because it's thorny. Nobody don't go in no bramble. You go to a fig tree, you go to an olive tree, you go to a vine, you pick a fruit or something. But the bramble, because of the bramble's ambition, and knowing they can't do the job, but still take the job. But to keep people in line because they know they're going to foul up. They know people are going to call them out and question them, threaten them, threaten all who will come up and challenge them. Who will throw who out a party, who will throw this one so, who will think this one so, and who don't listen so. And if you don't think so, it's SOE and And it tells people, when you're making a choice of your ruler, make sure you make a choice of one that has ethics, morals, values, can do the job. And it's not about self-interest, it's not about office and getting awards. It's about the betterment of all, not just some, not just self. So I want you all to reflect on the parable of Jotham as I call all my peeps, give you all a bless up and a shout out today. And I'm going to end with some. They say calypso is how our stories are told, whether humorous, whether rhapsody, whether contemporary, whether political, whether commentary, social, whether it's extempo, soca, whatever it is, chutney soca, it's how we tell our stories. So I want to tell all those on Facebook today, Diamond, Trini Jewels, Adara, Rudy, Legacy, Lystra, Melka, Helen Russell has Pleasantville, Philo, Galen, Charles, I think I called Venice already, Kim, Dion, Dandy, Miriam, Cheryl, Crossboss. Yes, and Crossboss, I guess you're talking about David Nackett. And again, because you think, if it's David Nackett you're speaking about and you're saying that nothing wrong with his statement, then it tells me what you think about yourself. It comes from you being insecure about yourself, and probably that's what people used to tell you about yourself, so that you feel you're projecting how you feel about yourself on others. So if you're referring Crossboss to what Nackett said and saying nothing wrong with the statement, well, that is how you think about yourself. Let me see what in Tessa, Leno, Cynthia, Allison, Julian Hamilton Sr., long time no see, long time I see you. Give me this. Yeah, I can't see. Destiny, Joyce. I haven't seen McDonald Banto for a while. Who again I have here? Who again? Leslie, Larry. Thank you all, and all those who I didn't call and mention. I love you all. Joycelyn, the whole crew, Sarah. Love you all dearly. Let me see who across here on Bounce Up. That's now let me get the thing right. When I get it right, I will start the call to connect. So I'm seeing here, oh Lord. So okay, what we have here? We have here seeing Val and Sedina. The conversation will be hot, you know. Rock, man. Well, I just now give me a minute. I want to go to the top and start from the top and come down. Right, so all the Facebook people are calling out already. So Constance, Val, Sedina, Rockman. Let's see who again here. Hey. Let's see who again, people. I just want to thank you all. Jones, 21215. Let me see who again. Lloyd. PNM, you are the cause of all this that is happening right now because you all didn't want Dr. Raleigh or Stuart Young, so don't cry for me, Argentina. Well, Lloyd, darling, you know who you're talking to. You tell me, I did my part. I let Moses, Lennox. Let me see who again. Everybody. Again, as I said, Calypso. Our music is how we tell our stories. So I want you all to listen to this, Papa. All that makes sense, what a nonsense, yeah? And all who is in agreement with what David Nackett has said, then look at yourself. Your problem is yourself. Hi, Bernadine, Rosalind. Your problem is yourself. That's how you think about yourself and people just think about you. So that's why you have a problem. Nobody's saying those things about others. But that void you have inside, no matter what Nackett say about us, you're still really going to feel good about yourself, Chris Ross. That's a temporary feeling. You're going to feel good about yourself because you truly believe that you probably is a dog. I don't know. So I listen to this.
To see who they will crown as lion champion. Liars from all parts of the West Indies, big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a feel about 1,000 or so entry in 2 days, he boiled down and leave just 3. I had me eye on Liar the lion because I know he does come with some good ones. But they had a younger fella named Debo, come from some village there in Tobago. He say his father is Tobago's best fisherman. Catch a fish a mile wide, 80 feet in span. He had to tie it on the boat and swim back to land to get his brother Eric to give him a hand. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Why, sir? Check it out. Liar the lion, he laughed till he sweat. He said, Mr. Debo, ain't say nothing yet. If you really want to hear about fishing, let me blow your mind. Now listen to something. When you're talking about fish, you just hit the spot. I was hoping you did believe it or not. The fish your father caught, to you it was great, but it's them small fish my father does use for bait. Lion went ahead on points in the show, complete eliminated Mr. Debo. The next man to beat was Will the Outrageous. He asked the judges if he could lie first. The judges asked Lion, the Lion agreed. Say any topic Will pick is alright with me. He outrageous, I strong, let we meet head on. And when we done, see who head fit to wear the crown. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Let it go. Let it go. Choke it up. Yep. The outrageous say that he knew a tailor comes to making suit. The man is the master. If you show him a man coming wrong a corner, he could make him a suit and don't even measure. A talking about suit, sitting down correct, expertly made and fitting perfect. He used to sew for Shakespeare, make suit for Hamlet, and up to this day yet make a mistake yet. You know the crowd went wild, they couldn't cool down. I say lion, the lion losing the crown. The judges brought the crowd back to order and asked the lion to lie about a tailor. He said, my man is the best, Rolf is his name. Cutting cloth, making suit is his game. Don't show him the man, my tailor is class. Just show him the corner where the fella pass, and he go make a suit. That is tailor, you hear lie? King liar.
Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Whip it up. Take it up. Let it go. Move it up. Let it go.
Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
That's our dynamic, exciting, controversial Lord Nelson. Even at his age, still wear anybody's suit, open up front and could have given us so many, as like our other Calypsonians do, so many calypsos that you could look at as classics. King Liar. I'm sure you know a couple of King and Queen Liars. Yeah. So people, thank you all, love you all for always coming to hang out with me. Let me talk the thing on the Bouncer platform and on Facebook. I haven't given up on Facebook because I know it have my peeps there also. That was my first love, my second love here. But at the end of the day, still love. Whether first, second, still love, right? Love is love. See you all on Friday because when I come with something fresh, something new. This is the girl Ginger, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, listen, this Jennifer Frederick, another edition that we talk the thing. And people could only treat you the way that you want them to treat you. So just boss, if you is a dog, well then you will align yourself with the things that David Nackett is saying, this minister is saying. And I think because David Nackett feels that way about himself, for whatever reason, that is why he behaves the way that he behaves. But people are seeing and people are hearing. And people will ask questions. You can't stop that in the age of technology now, where information is even at your fingertips. The information is coming at you. They can't hide it. I think what the UNC didn't count on, this is my opinion, they think they left the same society that they left in 2010-15, where they were kind of innocent and kind of naive towards where social media and things is concerned. I don't think they understand how much the society has grown technologically with what's happening all over. And that people have been doing the research, people have been speaking, and people are just swallowing the things they are saying. It's not that the people support PNM or UNC, just people who are questioning things. And they're not willing to just sit back and say, okay, yeah, it's purely pain on my face, but yeah, they say it's rain, so yes, it must be rain, you know. It's not like that no more. And they always must remember You see that group of 18-year-old between 18 to about 40, 45, that catchment group there, is not the same group of people that you would meet from like 55 and onwards. Different mentality, different thinking. And those are the young ones who you will have to treat and deal with. And they're not taking no lies anymore because of the same technology. So I want to end with this, people. Hope you all enjoy it. Late, great brother Resistance, who was known for Rapso, Rastafari and Rastaman, rest in peace, Rastafari. And so you all see you all on Friday, God's spare. I'm out.
Finger to the bone for my country. I squeeze blood out a stone for my country. The people in authority mashing up my family. So much of years that we sweat and toil. Let's bleed blood and tears wait till the soil. But we still suffering today, and the children can't see the way. Hey, I wake up in the morning and there's unemployment. I can't take that. Wake up in the morning and there's more retrenchment. I can't take that. When they want to stop all this humiliation, I can't take that. Wake up in the morning, more frustration, I can't take that. No, ain't taking that. So ain't taking that. 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 Hey, I love to live, but my life is a scramble. I had to teach to put a bread on my table. You mock democracy, licking up my dignity. So much a hungry mouth is to feed it. We cry blood just to sow the seed, but we still suffering in pain. And the children feeling the strain. I wake up in the morning and there's unemployment. I can't take that. Wake up in the morning and there's more retrenchment. I can't take that. When they go just up all this humiliation, I can't take that. I wake up in the morning and there's more frustration. I can't take that. No, ain't taking that. So ain't taking that. 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 Hey. From the belly of the nation, you mash me corn and you cause aggravation. Life under poverty is endless agony. And after all that we sacrifice, dog is the dinner and we pay the price. But we must get justice today, so we children could see the way. Hey, wake up in the morning and there's unemployment. I can't take that. Wake up in the morning and there's more retrenchment. I can't take that. When they going to stop all this humiliation, I can't take that. Wake up in the morning and there's more frustration, I can't take that. No.